Our first story begins in the sunny suburbs of Los Angeles, where a young couple, Jake and Emily, decided to spend their Saturday morning browsing garage sales. They were fans of horror movies and loved collecting vintage items that added a touch of history and mystery to their home. Little did they know their latest find would bring them face to face with a true horror story. At the third garage sale of the day, they found an ornate antique mirror. It had a beautiful, intricate frame and an eerie charm that immediately caught their eye. The elderly woman selling it seemed eager to part with it, and they got it for a bargain. As they drove home, they listened to Linkin Park, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. They hung the mirror in their living room, admiring its craftsmanship. That night, while watching a Sam and Colby horror video, Emily thought she saw something move in the reflection of the mirror. She brushed it off as her imagination, but the unease lingered. Over the next few days, strange things started happening. Objects in their home would move on their own, and they heard whispers when no one was around. Jake began having nightmares of a shadowy figure standing at the foot of their bed, its eyes glowing with malevolence. Emily, too, felt a cold presence whenever she was near the mirror. Desperate for answers, they turned to Reddit, seeking advice in horror and paranormal forums. They found countless stories of haunted mirrors and decided to contact a local paranormal investigator. The investigator, a seasoned veteran of supernatural horrors, agreed to visit their home. As the investigator examined the mirror, his expression grew grim. He revealed that the mirror was a portal for spirits, and the shadowy figure Jake had seen was an evil entity trying to cross over. The couple felt a chill run down their spines as the investigator explained that removing the mirror could anger the spirit further. That night, the activity escalated. The mirror vibrated violently, and a deafening scream echoed through the house. Jake and Emily watched in horror as the shadowy figure emerged from the mirror, its eyes burning with hatred. They tried to run, but the spirit was too fast. The next morning, the couple was found unconscious by their neighbor, their faces frozen in expressions of terror. The mirror lay shattered on the floor, but the evil presence remained. Jake and Emily never fully recovered from the ordeal, plagued by nightmares and the constant feeling of being watched. Their once happy home became a place of fear and darkness, a true horror story that left them haunted for the rest of their lives. Our second story takes us to a quaint small town in Ohio, where a woman named Lisa discovered an antique doll at a garage sale. Lisa loved collecting vintage toys, and this doll, with its porcelain face and Victorian dress, seemed like a perfect addition to her collection. Little did she know, she was about to unleash a nightmare. Lisa brought the doll home and placed it in her living room. That night she invited some friends over for a movie night. They decided to watch The Conjuring, enjoying the chilling scares and supernatural horror. After the movie, they sat around telling scary stories, and Lisa jokingly mentioned the new doll she had found. As they laughed and shared spooky tales, the doll seemed to watch them with its glassy eyes. Lisa's friend Megan felt an uneasy presence and suggested they move the doll to another room. Lisa brushed it off, but the atmosphere grew tense. Over the next few days, Lisa began to notice strange occurrences. The doll would change positions overnight, and she heard soft, eerie laughter echoing through her house. She tried to ignore it, but the activity grew more disturbing. One morning, she woke up to find the doll sitting on her bed, its eyes fixed on her. Terrified, Lisa turned to a local horror podcast for advice. The hosts, known for their knowledge of true crime and paranormal activity, suggested she might be dealing with a cursed object. They recommended a medium who specialized in haunted items. The medium, an elderly woman with a deep understanding of the supernatural, arrived at Lisa's home. As she examined the doll, she explained that it was possessed by the spirit of a child who had died tragically. The spirit, filled with anger and sorrow, was lashing out through the doll. That night, the medium performed a cleansing ritual, hoping to release the spirit. As she chanted, the temperature in the room plummeted and the lights flickered. The doll's eyes seemed to glow with a malevolent light, and a cold wind swept through the house. Suddenly, the doll levitated, and a piercing scream filled the air. Lisa and the medium watched in horror as the spirit manifested, a ghostly child with hollow eyes and a twisted smile. The medium's chants grew louder, but the spirit's anger intensified. In a final, desperate effort, the medium managed to banish the spirit, but not without a cost. She collapsed, exhausted, and warned Lisa that the curse was only suppressed, not broken. The doll was buried deep in the woods, but Lisa's life was forever changed. Lisa moved to a new town, but the fear never left her. She would often wake up in the middle of the night, convinced she heard the eerie laughter of the cursed doll. The experience left her haunted and paranoid, unable to trust even the most innocent-looking objects. Our third and final story takes us to a bustling garage sale in the heart of New Orleans. A man named Chris, a lover of art and antiques, found a captivating painting that he couldn't resist. The painting depicted a dark, stormy landscape with a lone figure standing in the distance. It was eerie and mesmerizing, perfect for his collection. But this painting carried a sinister secret. Chris brought the painting home and hung it in his study. That night, as he listened to horror music and browsed Reddit for scary stories, he felt an unsettling presence in the room. He glanced at the painting and swore he saw the figure move. Dismissing it as a trick of the light, he continued reading. Over the next few days, Chris began experiencing strange phenomena. He heard whispers coming from the painting and saw shadows moving out of the corner of his eye. At night, he had vivid nightmares of the figure in the painting, now closer and more menacing. Desperate for answers, Chris posted about his experience on a paranormal subreddit. He received a message from a user who claimed to know about the painting's dark history. According to the user, the painting was cursed by a demon, and everyone who owned it met a tragic end. Determined to uncover the truth, Chris contacted a local historian. The historian revealed that the painting had been created by an artist who dabbled in the dark arts. The artist had made a pact with a demon, and the painting was a gateway for the demon to enter the mortal world. That night, as Chris stared at the painting, he felt the room grow colder. The figure in the painting seemed to be staring directly at him, its eyes filled with malice. Suddenly the figure stepped out of the painting, a dark, shadowy form that filled the room with a palpable evil. Chris tried to scream, but no sound came out. The demon advanced, its eyes glowing with hatred. In a desperate attempt to save himself, Chris grabbed a knife and slashed at the painting. The demon let out a deafening roar and disappeared, leaving Chris shaken and terrified. But the horror was far from over. The next morning, Chris found the painting restored, the figure now closer and more menacing. He knew he couldn't destroy it, and the demon's presence grew stronger each day. Chris was found dead a week later, his face frozen in a mask of terror. The painting vanished, only to reappear at another garage sale, waiting for its next victim. Chris's story became a chilling tale of supernatural horror, a reminder that some art carries a curse far worse than death. As you browse through garage sales and antique shops, remember to always be cautious, for you never know what horrors might be lurking just beneath the surface.